The 48 Laws of Power, Part 2 of 4, The Art of Manipulation and Control. Power is not just about strength, it's about control. It's about shaping perceptions, influencing decisions, and making people move in the direction you choose. Welcome to Part 2 of our series on the 48 Laws of Power, where we'll uncover the most cunning, strategic, and manipulative laws that have been used by rulers, politicians, and business leaders throughout history. Stay with us, because once you learn these laws, you'll start seeing them everywhere. Mastering Advantage Laws, 13 to 16. Power is a game of positioning. These next 4 laws reveal how to stay ahead of your opponents and control your environment. Law 13. When asking for help, appeal to self-interest, never to mercy or gratitude. People are driven by their own interests, not by gratitude. The biggest mistake you can make when asking for help is assuming people will act out of kindness. The secret? Make them see how helping you benefits them. Take Benjamin Franklin as an example. He once needed the support of a political rival. Instead of begging for help, he asked the rival to lend him a rare book. The rival, flattered by the request, agreed. Later, Franklin returned the book with gratitude, creating a connection that transformed an enemy into an ally. This strategy, now called the Ben Franklin effect, is based on appealing to self-interest rather than demanding favors. Another example. During the Renaissance, Catherine de' Medici maintained power by ensuring that her allies always gained something in return. She didn't rely on favors. She built alliances through strategic exchanges. Modern leaders too understand this principle. Negotiators in business never beg. They present a scenario where the other party clearly benefits, making it a logical choice to help them. When you need assistance, always show what's in it for the other person. Law 14. Pose as a friend, work as a spy. The more information you have, the more powerful you are. Masters of power collect intelligence without revealing their own intentions. Take Cardinal Richelieu, the master manipulator of France. He built a vast network of spies who gathered secrets on nobles and political figures. By having access to critical information, he controlled the entire kingdom without ever needing a large army. Another historical example. J. Edgar Hoover, the first director of the FBI. He kept secret files on politicians, ensuring that even the most powerful figures feared him. This made him untouchable for nearly 50 years. In business and politics, intelligence is everything. Facebook, Google, and Amazon collect enormous amounts of data, not just for marketing, but to influence and control industries. The lesson? Always know more than those around you. Gain trust, gather information, and use it when the time is right. Law 15. Crush your enemy totally. Leaving an enemy alive means they can return for revenge. Throughout history, leaders who only half destroyed their enemies lived to regret it. Consider Julius Caesar. He believed in showing mercy to his political rivals, granting them positions in the Roman Senate. The result? Those same men later orchestrated his assassination. His failure to eliminate threats completely cost him his life. In contrast, Genghis Khan left no room for revenge. When he conquered a city, he didn't just take control, he wiped out entire populations. The message was clear. Opposing him meant total destruction. No survivors, no threats, no resistance. In the corporate world, companies like Microsoft, Apple, and Amazon follow this principle. Instead of competing, they acquire or crush smaller rivals, ensuring complete dominance in their industry. If you allow an opponent to survive, you must expect them to return stronger. The best way to remove a threat is to make sure it can never rise again. Law 16. Use absence to increase respect and honor. Too much availability reduces value. People crave what they can't have, so sometimes the best way to maintain power is to disappear for a while. Take Napoleon Bonaparte. When he was exiled to Elba, many believed his influence had ended, but his absence only made him more legendary, and when he returned, he was greeted as a hero. His reputation had grown in his absence. This is also true in modern celebrity culture. Actors and musicians who step away from the spotlight often become more desired upon their return. Think about Leonardo DiCaprio. His selective film choices keep him respected, while stars who overexpose themselves often lose appeal. The takeaway? Scarcity creates demand. If you are always present, people take you for granted, but if you step away strategically, your value increases. Now that you understand positioning, let's move into the art of controlling perception, one of the greatest tools of influence. Law 17. Keep others in suspended terror. Cultivate an air of unpredictability. Predictable people are easy to control. Unpredictable people create fear. Masters of power stay one step ahead by keeping others uncertain. Example, Vladimir Putin strategically shifts his policies and alliances, keeping both enemies and allies off balance. The less predictable he is, the harder it is to counter him. Another example? Elon Musk's erratic public behavior. Some see it as chaotic, but in reality, it keeps competitors, investors, and the media constantly speculating. This unpredictability creates an aura of power and dominance. The takeaway? If people can't predict your next move, they can't prepare against you. Law 18. Do not build fortresses to protect yourself. Isolation is dangerous. True power comes from control over people, not isolation. If you cut yourself off, you lose influence. Consider Louis XVI of France. He withdrew from the people, surrounding himself with luxury in Versailles, believing it made him untouchable. But this isolation blinded him to growing unrest, and it cost him his throne and his head. Contrast that with JFK, who constantly engaged with allies, political opponents, and the public. He remained in touch with the people, ensuring that he controlled public perception rather than letting it turn against him. The lesson? Stay connected. Power depends on your ability to influence others, and isolation only weakens your reach. Law 19. Know who you're dealing with. Do not offend the wrong person. Underestimating people is dangerous. Some will forget insults, others will make it their life's mission to destroy you. Take Joseph Stalin, a master of paranoia. If he even suspected someone of betraying him, he eliminated them. The mistake of underestimating how ruthless he could be led to the downfall of many Soviet officials. On the flip side, there's Michael Corleone in The Godfather. He knew exactly who to be ruthless with and who to keep as an ally. Many powerful figures today follow the same principle, never making unnecessary enemies but always knowing when to strike. The takeaway? Some people forgive, others don't. Choose your battles wisely. Law 20. Do not commit to anyone. Remaining neutral keeps you powerful. If you join a side, you inherit its enemies. The most powerful players keep everyone guessing. Example: Queen Elizabeth I refused to marry or commit to alliances, keeping all of Europe in suspense. This allowed her to manipulate kings and nobles who sought her favor. By staying non-committal, she maintained control over powerful figures. In modern politics, swing states hold the most power in elections because they are unpredictable. Candidates invest heavily in these undecided states, knowing that whoever wins them controls the outcome. The lesson? If people can't pin you down, they will always try to win you over. That puts you in the most powerful position. Now let's explore the advanced psychological tactics used by masters of power to manipulate and dominate. Law 21. Play a sucker to catch a sucker. Seem dumber than your mark. People naturally let their guard down around those they believe are less intelligent. The key to outsmarting someone? Make them underestimate you. One of the greatest practitioners of this law was Warren Buffett. Despite being one of the most brilliant financial minds in history, he presents himself as a humble, folksy businessman. This image disarms his competitors, allowing him to make sharp, strategic financial moves while they least expect it. Another example? Mark Zuckerberg. In the early days of Facebook, he played the role of a socially awkward college dropout while secretly building one of the most powerful tech empires in history. The lesson? Appear harmless, strike powerfully. Let others believe they are in control, and you will always have the upper hand. Law 22. Use the surrender tactic, transform weakness into power. Sometimes surrendering is the smartest move. By appearing weak, you lull your enemies into overconfidence, allowing you to strike later. Take Napoleon's retreat from Russia. Rather than fight losing battles, he withdrew, conserving his army's strength. When the Russian forces chased after him, Napoleon later regrouped and crushed them. Even in business, companies sometimes take losses on purpose to outmaneuver rivals. Amazon, for example, spent years losing money on shipping costs to build customer loyalty. Once they dominated the market, they raised prices and secured control. The lesson? Surrender is a weapon, not a weakness. If you know when to retreat, you can set yourself up for a future victory. Law 23. Concentrate your forces. Power is about focus. Instead of spreading resources thin, the most powerful individuals and organizations focus all their energy on key areas where they can dominate. Consider Apple's approach to technology. Instead of making 100 different products, they focus intensely on a few: the iPhone, Mac, and iPad. This concentration allows them to perfect each product and command the market. Alexander the Great. He knew he couldn't conquer the world by fighting on all fronts at once. Instead, he focused on one enemy at a time, strategically taking down each before moving to the next. The takeaway? Divide and conquer works, but only if you focus your efforts. Spreading yourself too thin leads to failure. Law 24. Play the perfect courtier. In power games, appearances are everything. Those who navigate social structures skillfully rise to the top. The greatest courtiers of history, figures like Cardinal Richelieu, understood that success was not just about talent, but about mastering the politics of influence. They learned how to flatter, avoid unnecessary enemies, and build strategic alliances. A modern example? Corporate executives who master office politics. The best leaders know when to praise the right people, subtly influence decision-makers, and build strong networks. This is why many powerful individuals are not necessarily the most talented, but the best at navigating human psychology. The strategy: learn how to move in the right circles, say the right things, and avoid conflict with powerful figures. Those who master social dynamics hold the real power. These laws separate the amateurs from the true players. Power isn't given, it's taken. The question is, will you use it or will it be used against you? Which of these laws shocked you the most? Let us know in the comments. Subscribe so you don't miss part 3, where we go even deeper into the most dangerous and effective power tactics. Next episode: the psychology of power, how leaders maintain and expand their influence.